If you're having trouble finishing your 400 meters, then this video is for you. If you get to this point right here in your 400 meter race, the 300 meters, and you feel slow, you feel sluggish, you feel like there's something pulling you down, you can't quite finish, then I'm here to tell you that it's not your endurance, but it's your speed. And quite technically, it's your speed endurance that needs work. Before we get into this, I'm gonna give you one quick tip that's going to help you finish strong. And that first tip is gonna be using our arms properly. So I want you to go through this experiment with me, right? If you're driving, don't do this, just picture it, visualize it. I want you to walk just normally and picture how your arms move. What do they do? How do they work with your legs? And what range of motion are they working in? Now, if you're like any other normal human being, your arms are going to be at your side here. They're going to swing a little bit through your hips, and they're going to be opposite with your leg. Now, does this look familiar? It should, because this is how you're supposed to run. Now, why are the arms the first thing I'm talking about? That's because the finish of just about any race, could be the 100, 200, or 400, 800, it goes for any race. Our legs are dead, our legs are toast, our arms play such a huge role in finishing races strong. If you notice one thing about runners and sprinters in particular, they're like buff, right? They're jacked, they're yoked, we say yoked out here in the Bay, but they're hub, whatever you wanna say, they're like fit uniformly. It's not just their legs that are muscular, their arms are also muscular as well. And the reason for that is how important role the arms play in finishing our races, right? You see, I have my nice, perfectly drawn stick figure here. And outside of my stick figure, I drew this like sheath. This is a layer around our muscles that keep our muscles hydrated. They help send nerve signals to all of our body, all that kind of good stuff. And the reason I have this sheath is that the body works as one, right? There's no one part of the body that works alone. So I'm always going to be in sync when I swing my arms. My arms are always going to dictate the level at which I run, essentially. So what you're going to see is that I see a lot of my athletes like to be up here. This means that I'm going to be small in my strides and my knees are not going to get up that much. Some of my athletes like to do this. That means I'm going to be super long in my strides and probably have a ton of back kick. Okay, so you want to be kind of just naturally swinging through your hips and bringing them up a good level, not super high, but not super low. Just swing them naturally. So an exercise you can do, I want you to watch the professionals do how they do, and then in your mirror, just replicate what they do and swing your arms. Now you can go for a certain amount of time. If your race is going to be 50 seconds, go for 50 seconds or somewhere around there, 60 seconds. What you don't want to do is grab like heavy dumbbells, like 1 pound, 2 pound, maybe 5 pound are okay. But you don't want to start training to be slow here. And that's what we're going to discuss in part 2. But now we're not working our arms as though we're going to be using them in our race. We want to keep them fast and full. We know that how we use our arms are going to dictate how we run our race, but let's quickly go over the 400 meter race strategy that I have in one of my other videos, right? I said 9 times 90, 90% for about 90 meters, right? These are just guidelines, metrics to run. We know that if we start out here and we go 100% is bad. We're not going to be able to go 100%. You need some sort of strategy in the 4, and realistically, you want to practice this strategy in our training sessions, right? You don't want to just try this one time in the meet. You want to base your training off of this. So that's another story, another time. About 90%, we have this little float phase here where we're still trying to maintain this 90%. However, we're not putting as much energy into running fast. It's almost like a car on cruise control. If you imagine you have stride length and stride turnover as the 2 components for running fast, you really want to focus on stride length here. Now with the arms, this doesn't mean, again, we're not here with our arms, we're just natural, but we're also not here yet, right? We're saving our arms essentially because our legs will be toast by here, our arms, our whole body will be toast. We talk about this little sheath here, but we'll be a bit better with our arms once we get here, if we can follow this. So I'm 9 times 90. I'm kind of nice in here. I'm relaxed, right? The difference for me between 90 and 95 and 100%, we're going to use all these percentages as we train and as we speak about track and field. And when you really get to the professional level, you can dial this in. There is a difference between 90, 95, 100%, but essentially it's just how relaxed you are, right? So if you picture 100%, where I'm at maybe if I'm running 100 meters at 100%, I'm relaxing through this first part of the race to be at 90%, right? So if my arms are like this in the 100, I might be a bit more relaxed. So then we break the turn up into uphill, downhill. We pretend like we're running uphill, dragging a sled, a parachute, resistance running, whatever. We're just like you're slugging through the mud there, going uphill. And now when we begin to come downhill, now's when we begin to pick up our turnover and pick up the frequency of our arms, okay? So doesn't matter if you're a 400 runner, 100, 200, right? 800, 1600, mile, marathon. If you run this correctly, you're gonna be tired here. And the thing that's going to bring you home, like we said, is gonna be pumping those arms. We know that we have to work as one on this finish. So pumping the arms is gonna force our legs to continue to move at a rapid speed. What we don't wanna do is get slow here. We can start to get slow and we start to get up here or back here. Or my thing was I used to tilt my head to the side and just be lazy with my neck for a weird reason. I don't know, but we wanna be nice and tall and pumping our arms through the finish. Now we talked about arm swings, right, that we could do as a drill. But in addition to arm swings, we know that this is a sheath, and this is actually a tip that I did not include in my little 12-week program that I'll have below. But we're talking about plyometrics. When we talk about plyometrics, we're discussing things. Remember, these are always in sync, right? So we're doing big box hops or perhaps hurdle hops. We're doing bounding. These are all going to increase plyometrics among the full body here rather than just the legs. But what we also want to do is some stuff like we could do clapping push-ups, clap, push-up, right? Push-up, clap. This is going to begin to create some plyometrics in the upper body. You could do some med ball push-ups. And with med ball push-ups, you could have like med ball in one hand, go down, push up, throw the ball to the other hand. That's another way to produce some plyometrics in the arms. You can do band push-ups, or you can do, band push-ups, or you can do band arm swings. I love the bands for this kind of plyometric stuff because it's going to, give you that resistance in both directions. So those are just some general arm plyometrics that you can do. I'm sure that there's a lot more, right? Med ball tosses, med ball throws. Those kind of things are going to help create this plyometric style of the arms because you want to condition your arms just like you condition your legs, which you should be doing in training anyway, right? Get away from this cheek pocket, get away from this, right? Natural, because just like when we walk, our arms are swinging in a certain pattern. We just make it bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? So that is about the arms. Now the second component when we discuss finishing the 400 meter like a pro is going to be speed endurance. Now this sounds more complicated than it is, but we'll go over how to make it easy right now. So at this point, we're no longer in preseason. We're talking about finishing a 400. So, we did all of our preseason training. And this matters when we discuss the term endurance. But for now, let's talk about these two terms separately. So speed, right? Pretty clear what speed is. Speed is going to be, flying 30s. We're talking about 60s, right? 30s, 60s, anything of that nature. Running downhill at a slight decline, right? This is going to be my attempt to run downhill. This is my very, again, well-drawn hill, right? It's something that you could do if you have, this is a unique experience. Maybe I won't talk about running downhill, but we can do like a belt where someone pulls you to run faster than your max speed, right? Super windy days are going to be good for speed workouts, running with the wind at your back. Those are going to be speed workouts, right? I'll even go up to like, we'll say 125s, maybe 150s here, We're tapping a bit more into speed endurance when we get to these distances, but they're going to help you do speed. And another big part about speed is getting full recovery. Full recovery. Okay. And so again, we have this pyramid here that I created for just another general outline, where we have our preseason training, where we have, what did I say? 4 to 6 minutes rest. When we get in season, we're beginning to get a bit more rest, 6 to 8 minutes rest. When we start tapping into this 8 minutes, that's what I mean by full recovery. And peak season is 8 to 12 minutes rest. Everything should be, very fast with full recovery, because peak season, we're very, very focused on speed. Next component is going to be endurance. Now, for endurance, we're going to create a good and a bad. Now, anything that's bad endurance is going to be focused on things that are just endurance without speed. So we're talking about, miles, anything in the mile section, right? 800-meter training, right? We're talking about short recovery. And by short recovery, I mean even shorter than this 4 to 6 minutes. We're talking about 2 minutes, 1 minute. There's going to be endurance things, especially because we've already discussed we're no longer in this portion of our training, right? You can get away with some of this stuff preseason, but even then there's better ways to train. We're talking about 500s, right? 500s are bad forms of endurance. We're talking about soccer. I can't tell you how many people are like, I'm doing soccer, so I'm in good shape. Yeah, you are. Like, no doubt about it. Soccer is amazing to get you endurance, but it is not speed endurance at all. We're talking about high volume. Okay, so high volume includes 500s. High volume also includes, tapping into this 2,400 meter range, right? 8 times 300, where you get, you walk across, you run a 300, walk across the track, run a 300, that type of thing, right? With short rests. That's all bad stuff. Right? And the reason it's bad in relation to finishing the 400 like a pro is that we're now up here in season and possibly peak season, right? And we're discussing speed endurance as one term. Speed is a term on its own. Endurance is a term on its own, right? These are not bad, but in relation to this, it's bad. So good type of endurance training is going to be, we'll say like 250s. Okay. We'll say things like 150s, right? Full recovery, partial to full recovery, right? Plyometrics, wave vests, all this kind of stuff, right? But the key to this is also going to be right? This says high quality, if you can't read that. I'm sure you cannot read that. But the key to good endurance is high quality, okay? So we're discussing, again, speed endurance. I don't know how many times I've said that. But here's the problem with here's why this is bad and this is good, okay? So what I've asked you to do is to run basically 90% around the whole track. And maintaining the 90% by just playing with, manipulating the way that we're considering our form, manipulating our length, first turnover, saving the turnover for a little bit later, working more towards the length section of our stride length, stride turnover. So I've asked you to go 90%, flow uphill, downhill is when we begin to turn over again. And right here, we know that it's just basically 100%. Okay, and so what I've been receiving is that, the comments that I've been receiving is that after I go 90%, I'm dead. I cannot go any further at 90%, right? And that is because you've been doing endurance work, bad. Okay, you've been training at, right? You've been training at less than 75%, right? All of these workouts are going to be structured where you actually can't train above 75%. You're going to have high volume. You're going to have short recovery. You're going to be going, imagine doing a 500 at 90%. You can't imagine it because you can't do it. Okay. Now imagine doing a 250, right? 250 times 4 with 12 minutes rest. Guess what? You're going to hate me. It's going to suck, but you will be able to do these at 90%. Okay. We're not trying to like kill you. Well, we are going to make you suffer a bit, but you know, I'm not asking you to do these at 100%, right? I'm going to ask you to do them at 75. And then the next week I'll ask you to do them at 80. And then next week I'll ask you to do them at 85, and we'll drop this down to 3. And then next week I'll ask you to do them at 90. And then next week I'll ask you to do it at 95, but I'll drop it down to 2. Okay. So like that's all good recovery. 150s, right? Times 4 at 95%. These are examples of good speed endurance. Now, again, maybe I need to go over this one more time because I want it to really stick. The problem is you're trying to run, the only day that you run 90% or above is on race day. That's a problem. And that's going to lead to you gassing out right here. You've not trained to continue your 90%. That's the big problem and why you get here and you can't continue. Okay, so we know that if you can't continue, you're going to really get here and be dead. Okay, that's one reason why you're not finishing like a pro. The other reason is that you don't have enough speed. So let's say you've done all of your good speed endurance work. You've done all your good speed endurance work, but you get here and other people just seem to be able to finish stronger than you, lift on you at the end. This part now is way more about speed, right? We want to be even or ahead of everyone here, okay? But if there are guys or girls in your race that are out kicking you in the 400, right? This is true again for the 800, 200 if you get here, 200 if you get here, and people just seem to finish stronger than you. This section is about, I've said it before, foot speed. So it's about pure speed. And you're not doing enough of these style workouts to finish your race strong. Okay. So I know that was a lot. I hope that, you know, if anything, just section 1, remember the arms. Yeah, let's say you have a race coming up this weekend. Go to your arms. Save them. Don't save them up here. Just be fluid, relaxed, then power home. And if you have the ability to incorporate some of this training in, this is going to be a huge unlock for you, is really learning how to train speed separately and then how to train speed endurance without doing endurance work. And if you need help and you need guidance in that, I do have a program in the link below to help you with. I have a speed program and I have a speed endurance program. So you get both of those to learn how to finish your 400 like a pro.